All right, we have a crazy game for you today. We have a low eco 24 pop castle drop into longbows from our British player named Frank. Frank sent me this game in, and I'm just so happy that he sent this into me because this is not your typical player. This is 1700 elo, which I think a lot of us would consider to be very high. Let's take a quick look at his opponent because we have a lot of things to talk about in Frank's base. Fenor is playing as the Sicilians. Now Josh is probably thinking to himself, why has he been calling me Frank? Just to mess with you. I had a little Discord conversation. So it's not Frank, it is Josh. And Josh has a great channel of his own. I really recommend, link's going to be in the description, that you check it out. And check this out. Josh is building a mill instead of a lumber camp. I haven't seen that one before. We are going to speed this up just a little bit because this is already my fourth time miserably failing at doing this cast. There is some side conversation going on as well. At the 11 mark, a boar is Lord 12 total population, but 11 villagers. And I really want to check out how he gets that next boar because he does something that I think is... it just shows the caliber of this player and shows off what skill is required to be 1700 elo. And also, Fenor, no slouch in any regard. Now he's using straggler trees to make up for that wood difference. Look at this. The boar was not done yet. Finishes the boar and now shoots this boar. Not a single slice of bacon shall be wasted. After he has his wood that's being collected, he needs an additional house, and he's going to be aiming, like I said, for 24 pop up to feudal. Now, normally when you get to feudal, you go for 2 additional pop, and then you go into castle. But he's going to go for 1 additional pop and loom, and go to castle in that manner. Now that he has enough wood for a lumber camp, he's going to use that wood to obviously build a lumber camp, and he's going to put a bunch of villagers on lumber. I would say more so than you would actually like on one lumber camp, but since he can't afford an additional lumber camp because it's such a low eco push, he's just going to have to deal with 7. So you are going to see some bumping over here, but once again, this is all part of the strategy. Another thing that I have to point out, oh man, there's just like, I'm just getting bombarded with all these little tricks and things that he is doing. He is spreading out his deer so nicely. He's not dogpiling any of his deer. And look at this, there's 3 villagers over here. 2 of them go to the first deer, the third one goes to the last deer. He's going to go for stone before he goes for gold. Why? I'm not quite sure. I watched this a couple of times already, and I'm not quite sure why he goes for stone. I guess just because he wants to make sure that the castle comes out in time, which is quite understandable. If you do click up the castle, I believe you need to have about 6 or 7 to drop the castle. But the thing is, you also have to walk over to your opponent. So realistically, if you want to have your castle and the stone required for the castle and be able to drop it, you might even want to go for like 9 or 10, because then you have to drag some of those villagers off. And anyway, you get the point that I'm trying to make. And he doesn't want to deal with any of that. He wants to have a very, very smooth castle drop. Even halfway into feudal, he still has 2 sheep and very, very patiently consuming those sheep is Josh. What a build, man. What a build. And all of this just to be behind in eco, if you think about it, because his opponent's probably going to drop 2, maybe even 3 TCs. I also love how he constructed the market first. The market requires more time to be constructed than the blacksmith. So he started with the market and then went for the blacksmith rather than the other way around. And now that it's up, he can immediately click. Oh, Josh. 3 gold short, 1 gold short. Oh man, this is unacceptable. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to stop this cast right now, guys. It wasn't perfect. Now, I honestly think that this was such high level play. I don't know if I could pull off such a smooth 24 pop castle age with enough stone in the bank to construct a castle. Look at this. He is 25% of the way up, and his opponent, he doesn't even have the buildings yet to click up. He's going to be 1/3 of the way to castle before Fëanor even has a chance to click castle. Fletching coming out, and Josh told me that he wants to go for fast bodkin as well. Now I want to take a look at something, because while all of this was going on, Josh was also scouting where to drop that castle. Now I think if you want to drop a castle, here would be an absolutely wonderful spot, but this is probably the faster spot to drop at, especially considering that this is your main gate. So he does move some of those villagers that were on food off to go and drop that castle. He has still a total of 5, and you're going to see that he makes a little mistake, and these villagers should be working at this time. I believe he moves them to farms around his TC. It's going to be a little bit awkward for him in the beginning of Castle Age to get the resources for the things that he wants. Little scout engage over here. Take your bets. Yellow or pink? Yellow or pink? Who's gonna be the ultimate winner in this scout engage? If you pick pink, you win the grand prize of 50 bajillion friendship token. I don't know. I'm not giving you anything. Anyway, that castle is now going to go up, and had an additional scout on the way. Fëanor is no slouch by any means. Bodkin arrow is constructed, 0 on food. Now those villagers did move on food. You need about 6 farms around your TC in order for your TC to continuously produce. Now, I was convinced that Josh was going to drop an additional castle. And maybe that was the idea initially, but I mean, you'll see later on, he doesn't decide to go for a secondary castle. So then it's not really required to have all of those villas on stone. They might be better off on wood, so that you can then get food, so that you can go and either, get additional boom going, or additional TCs, or something in that nature. Now let's take a quick look at Fëanor's base. Did not waste any time, knows that his opponent is going to be behind in terms of eco, and went straight for 3 TCs, and now he just has to hold. Now that this gate is going to be broken down, you do need some defensive structures, opting for a siege workshop. He also still has a stable, so he could potentially make some knights in low numbers that could actually be really good to snipe the zone. Can he get that villager? No. Ballistics obviously not in. Can't afford ballistics. It's so awkward not having ballistics, because everything just runs away from you and you can't kill anything. And after all of that, after that beautiful build that we just saw, he is still about 20, sorry, not 20, 10 villagers behind. Isn't that funny? Now he has to do damage. And it's going to be difficult because mangonels are already on the ground. Like I said, 1700 elo, people are not going to be sleeping on you. You can't just drop a castle and expect that that's going to win you the game. Actually, I think in a lot of situations, dropping this castle and not having eco could actually lose you the game. Monk coming out. I think those monks are probably here for the knights. Although that being said, there are some relics relatively close around. I guess he could get all 5 relics if he really wanted to. I mean, this one's kind of like a gimme. That's his, as that castle is right on top of it. Scorpion defense coming out now as well. But this is really awkward because longbows have a total of 8 range, whereas mangonels and scorpions only have a range of 7. And the military numbers are definitely amassing. If this game goes longer and longer and longer without Fëanor taking any significant damage, this could be absolutely detrimental for Josh. We're doing a little bit of a ring around the rosy over here. Did manage to get that one relic, and that's about equivalent to one person getting, yeah. So now at this point he has switched off of stone, has put them onto wood, and I wonder what he's going to go for. Did get the wood upgrade as well. That's going to pay off for itself, but other than that, not a whole bunch of eco upgrades for Josh. Just simply, that scout absolutely eating it. I guess if you can get the farms, why not? I also love how the farms just light themselves on fire. We're only part HP. Light ourselves on fire. I don't know. I always thought that was so weird how buildings could catch on fire by a ram ramming them or archers firing arrows in them. But it really adds a lot of nostalgia for me because that's one of the main things that I remember from Age of Empires. Some villagers sneaking out over here even to get the gold and the stone over here. Only this main gold can really be taken for Fëanor at this time. If you look around, you can see that Josh is on this forward gold. This forward gold is contested by the castle. Even if these archers are not there, not going to be very, very easy to take. And just doing a little bit of ballet dancing to try. I also wonder how many knights at this point. Oh, got the 2 armor upgrade. Oh my goodness! That's a bunch of knights over here. I think Fëanor even realizes that if he gets enough knights, and if these longbows get too close, it could be really, really good for him because he already has the eco lead in a pretty large margin. 22 villagers ahead now. But Josh is not sleeping on the job. He realizes that this has had a flag on it for quite some time and he didn't see one pop out. So he has monks in the fence and a total of 14 longbowmen to go along with it. But the military numbers are now starting to pull together, and I think a knight, actually if you have enough knights and you can get this around, it's still kind of tricky engaging against longbowmen, to be honest with you, especially underneath the castle fire as well. I also like how Josh has been slowly and methodically increasing the gap to Fëanor's base, repairing this so that the knights don't pop out. Oh, these are pretty close though. Do you just pop out right now and try and take this engage? I'm not so sure. He is trying to repair that to the best of his ability. He doesn't want to lose that production building. I feel like the knights at any point are going to pop out, not even by choice, but simply, oh, check this out. No way! I was wondering what he was investing in. Sorry, I was so into the knights and whatnot. I totally missed that. Oh, there come the knights. As I say, of course, now I have to focus on the knights. Of course, Poop Lord, best caster ever in the history of casters, went for fast imperial. 1 TC fast imperial. There's just a lot happening in this game. This has been highly, highly entertaining for me. Now I know a lot of you who are maybe like high level arena players might have some criticism on this, but for me this is perfect. Running those knights around, I wonder if he's going to try and do some damage over here. Yeah, he did sneak out some of those villagers that were on stone, and now a counterattack is amassing towards Josh's base. I wonder if he's going to stick around in the front and trying to push over here with his trips. Now, you might be wondering, what is up with these little stone walls over here? I think, and I'm not sure, maybe we can ask Josh about this later on, but I think he created this to create choke points for his longbows to sit in. Meanwhile, stonewalling behind this bush, and he might actually need... Oh my goodness. Knights, come on. Come on, that's your job. Keep them safe. Almost got one for free. Bringing back the longbows now. Bringing back the monks as well. And since the range is huge, 10 range on these, and that imp hitting also helped his longbows to get an additional range, I do believe, building a siege workshop to try and stop this. And if all of these knights are lost, Fëanor could be in some serious problems. I mean, what do you do against 21 longbowmen, given that Fëanor is almost, wow, 52 pop ahead. He's 52 pop ahead. I mean, at this point, Josh needs to kill. He literally has to kill at this point. If he doesn't kill his opponent with this fast Imperial Age, he's dead. He's super dead. He's just got a full frontal push at this point. The knights have to come back. It does look like, oh, there's a little opening over here. Would be great if he could get a stable and get some knights in there, but his army did have to be pulled back just to defend. Would love to actually see him run this back again and somehow get over there, but these monks are on the prowl for them as well. Really hard to engage against him. Finally, no, ballistics. Is ballistics in for? Yeah, it does look like ballistics is in. Is it in? No, it's not in. It's not in because there is no. Oh no, there is a university. Poop, you're an idiot. I just remembered that Josh got super duper late ballistics. Actually, I'm not so sure it is in. It's not in. It's not in. I was a little early on the trigger there. That's crazy. Fëanor actually got ballistics. Sniping a monk here too. That's great. Actually got ballistics before Josh did. That's wild. Like, look how many of these shots are still missing. And ballistics is finally in. 33-minute mark, finally getting ballistics for your longbows. But now, absolutely everything can be shred. And Fëanor is really pushed in the corner over here. Down to 1 TC himself at this point. 90 to 38 villager count. But knights are getting converted, knights are getting shot, and the military numbers are simply not there. 33 to 15 military numbers. Does have some skirms, but he can't produce skirms fast enough to keep up with these longbowmen. These longbowmen are absolutely decimating everything. As chemistry was also coming in. Couldn't go to imp, couldn't deal with the trebs. On 1 TC, Josh just pushed. 1700 elo, no joke plays here, but what a meanie strategy. I remember longbows from when I was just starting Age of Empires, and I was like, oh my gosh, longbows are super OP, there's no way. Now they're kind of seen as a joke in the professional community, but that being said, just goes to show that even at 1700 elo with a low eco build, actually Josh told me that this wasn't necessarily developed by him, it was actually developed by 2 Irish brothers, and they do a lot of low eco build. Oh my god, look at that KD. That is absolutely disgusting. 54 to 9. That's about 5.5 ratio for you there. More food, more wood. Okay, a little bit more stone collected. Fëanor didn't really need a whole bunch of stone. And almost equivalent amounts of gold, about 1,000 differential there. Fëanor's economy was just so much better, but Josh did it with the 1 castle drop. Look at that castle age time. Absolutely ridiculous. 14, 15, and the ability to drop a castle when hitting castle age. That's not easy to do. Castles, yeah. Only collected 1 of his relics. Could have actually collected more, but I think he kind of needed his monks just to keep his army safe from all of those knights that could have come in and attacked. Have you ever seen the person who is winning, or who has won, I should say, have less on the timeline? Absolutely hilarious. Josh has more military, but so much less economy, like 50 pop in economy. I want to go to the map. I want to actually see. Okay, so he did have the score lead, but in the timeline, it definitely does not look like he has the lead. Anyway, guys, thanks for walking. And if you are going to walk, you might as well go for a 24 low eco castle drop into unique units. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Josh, for sharing this with me. And thank you all for walking. Just keep walking. Just keep walking.